Hey guys, how you doing? Ron Raymond here from the Raymond Report with tip number 22 of our 30 tips in 30 days, Dog Days of Summer series. Hope you're having yourself a good start to your day. As always, don't forget, subscribe to our channel by tapping that notification bell in the top right hand corner or hit the subscribe button below this video if you are watching on a mobile device. Alright, tip 22, the biological clock of players and teams when they're from the West Coast traveling to the East Coast and how they fare against those teams, right? So the myth is this, right? We're talking about this myth against facts, and the myth is this, that the West Coast teams, when they travel to the East Coast for a game, their body clocks are off, their biological clocks are off, their performance are not as good as they are when they're at home. But is that a myth or it's fact, right? So let's take a look at some of these things, these teams right now, and let's start off with the Arizona Cardinals. And what I did is I did the last 10 years, so I'm just going to go back here. Arizona is an away team versus Eastern time zone teams the last 10 years. 12 and 24 straight up, 18, 17 and 1 against the number, 15, 19 and 2 to the over under. Same thing for the Las Vegas Raiders. So I'm just going to use the West Coast teams. 9, 14 straight up, 11, 11 and 1 against the point spread, and 14 and 9 to the over. For the LA Chargers, 19 and 21, 19, 18 and 3 straight up, 22 and 18 to the over under. The Rams, 17 and 17, 500 here the last 10 years, 19, 13 and 2. And 15 and 19, and also the San Francisco Giants, 49ers, still in baseball mode here until we get to NFL. 21 and 15 straight up, 23, 11 and 2, and 19 and 17. So of all those teams, you can see there really isn't a big difference. So what exactly are we looking for when we're looking for these West Coast teams playing the East Coast teams, and where do we find an advantage, right? Well, I use this analogy. It's like working out. When you're working out, you don't feel it right there, right? But you feel it the next day. And what I did is I went into the database and I said, you know what? Let me see if there's a bigger difference in the following game after playing on the East Coast, right? And surprisingly enough, that's where we found the value. In fact, let's take a look here. So what I did is I broken down the teams in the East time zone, West time, Central time zone, and Pacific time zone. So the West Coast teams, I did it by all the teams. In fact, the best team against the Eastern time zone team, who else? The New England Patriots. But surprisingly enough, there's the Arizona Cardinals at 14-8 against the point spread. Now that's just against the point spread. I'll show you guys the straight up and the over-under angle, right? So if you look in this column right here, this is all against the point spread. So I did the top 10 teams against Eastern time zone teams, and I color-coded them. So if everything in green, all the teams in green are Eastern time zones. Teams in yellow are Central time zone teams, and the teams in red are your West Coast teams, right? So the only West Coast team in the top 10, Arizona Cardinals, 14 and 8 against the point spread, 64%. Seattle Seahawks, 13 and 14 against the spread, 48%. And here's the difference. Now here's those West Coast teams. Three of the four West Coast teams have the worst point spread record at home after facing an East Coast team in the game previous. The Raiders 6 and 11 for 35%. The LA Rams 9 and 17 for 35%, and the LA Chargers 6 and 17 against the number in their next game after facing an Eastern time zone team, and that's where your edge lies, right? And now for the against the point spread for the Central time zone team, look at the New York Giants. 3 and 17 against the point spread at home after facing an Eastern time zone team. And really nothing to write home about here for the Seattle Seahawks against Pacific Standard Time Zone teams. I don't want to say that 10 times. Pacific Standard Time Zone teams. 7 and 3 against the point spread. Now let's go to straight up factor, and you can see right here. The Chargers. Let me see. That's okay. That's the against the point spread. No, that's straight up. That's right. All right. So again, look at this. 10 and 13 straight up. Excuse me, 43%. The Las Vegas Raiders, 7 and 11, 39%. And there's the Rams, 9 and 17 straight up the last 10 years when they're at home after facing an Eastern time zone team. And their best team against the Eastern time zone, obviously, is New England Patriots, 30 and 4, and the Packers at 21 and 14. And let's take a look. But you know what? Let me check the straight up. So that was straight up. Okay, yep. So let's go to the over-unders. And let's see if there's any edges here in the over-unders. And look at this. The Kansas City Chiefs are the, if you want to play the total on a team that at home after facing an Eastern time zone team. Now, Kansas City's a Central time zone team, but look at the over-under record. 19-5 to the under. 21% of their games go under the total after facing an Eastern time zone team. And let me see. Here we got Cleveland Browns when they're at home after facing Eastern time zone team. 27% to the under. And Jacksonville Jaguars, 6-19 to the under after facing an Eastern time zone team. And the Denver Broncos, when they're at home after facing an Eastern time zone team, 21% to the under. So look at all these unders after teams. I don't see any overs. It's all the unders, right? And if you look it up here, Las Vegas. Now here's the exception. Las Vegas, after facing an Eastern time zone team and they come back home the next game, 72% of their games go over the total. So back to the title here, biological clock. So it myth to facts, right? So the thing is, it's not in the game that they're playing. It's the following game you want to bet against those West Coast teams, because that's where the fatigue sets in, and they're probably going on adrenaline and nerves, while they're playing, and it takes think of it. You're going from one time zone, the Pacific time zone, back to the Eastern time zone, and then back to the Pacific. So that's a lot of biorhythms there for the human body to go through, right? And there used to be a handicapper in our industry who used to do all his handicapping based on biorhythms, and that's where I got this idea from. All right, that is tip number 22. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this tip. Again, it's been a blast bringing you guys this each and every day. Don't forget, subscribe to our channel by tapping that notification bell in the top right-hand corner, and hopefully you guys will. Hopefully you guys will join the World Series of Handicapping football contest. In fact, season number 10 is right around the corner, and you can sign up. It's only $25 to enter. It's make 7 picks a week. Grade those picks 7 units to 1 unit, and the player with the most units at the end of the year wins the ring, $1,500 in cash. And if you go 7-0 during the week, anytime during week 1 to 17, you get $50 in cash. And you can see Rusty, he wants the cash right there. All right, there you have it. That is the Raymond Report for tip number 22. Cheers.